Welcome back, and today we're flying out the Su-22M4 WTD61. And why you shouldn't, you probably already know the verdict, why you shouldn't buy this thing. It's pretty simple. I will do the air-to-air thing in a second here, but I do want to cover on the fact that it is a premium and thus pretty decent at getting RP. It will always be a decent grinder. However, how good is it at actually getting anything done? And this includes ground pounding in air RP. The short answer is not very much, and the long answer is, well, the payload, the amount of bombs and rockets, it's actually kind of respectable. The rest of the airframe unfortunately isn't. So even though you might be able to kill a base or two if you are able to, you're gonna be reaching them after your teammates will, because this plane isn't particularly fast, it doesn't accelerate very quickly, and this is without any ordnance on it, simply the loadout that you see. 6 R60Ms and 2 of the fuel tanks, which you can of course drop or opt not to take. You will be beaten to the base, and because you are so slow, there's a very big likelihood that you will be intercepted before you even reach the base. You need to cross over to their side of the map, and a lot of people are aware that, well, bombing bases attract free kills, such as the Su-22M4. So overall, in terms of ground pounding, not fantastic. Getting the soft targets in the middle of the map, a bit of a death sentence. So what is left? Flying it like a fighter. And you can get decent results, but it's mostly going to be down to the inability of your enemies, as well as the fact that people at SBR are simply not that experienced. And if you noticed, yes, those are essentially the same thing. We use some terrain here. We merge with the Phantom. We are going slower, we fold out at the wings, we start using the flaps to get some position. This plane absolutely mocks us in basically every regard, and this is a fight that I will not be winning. You can tell that I'm essentially falling out of the air at this point, and I'm struggling very hard to keep up with this guy. Luckily for us, he turns into the wrong direction. He has the right idea by going into a raid fight, but the way he's doing it doesn't really help him out. However, this plane is such a boat that I'm not able to capitalize on it. Here I'm not going to get the shot, so I'm going to try to loop in behind him and then fall back down on top of him to get the shot, which is exactly what we do here. But yet again, we don't have the speed, we don't have the lift, and we don't have the, well, weight or lack thereof to actually, you know, pull in. We're not able to get the shot there, we're able to get the shot here, but I have a massive skill issue and I miss all my rounds. I probably would have been able to pitch in there because he was having a wrong trajectory. However, we kept him alive and slow long enough to the point where our teammates help us out, and luckily they don't end us team killing. The nice thing about this plane, however, is absolutely nothing, and what you can do is just kinda try to cruise around the map and find people that aren't paying attention, or people that are so hot that they won't be able to flare you. Now here we're trying to chase down an F-111, a plane that is obviously going to be faster than us, but I hope that when he is done bombing, he turns out and bleeds all of his speed, because that is what the Aardvark is really good at. Now, if he doesn't do that, I will break off and of course turn around, because I do want to have some match presence, other than just chasing a guy that is very obviously going to be dead. Now he has the MAW, so there's no real reason to really shoot missiles at him. It's going to auto flare even if he doesn't pay attention. If it's from direct rear, we can probably sneak it through the heat of the engines, because those engines are extremely hot. But from that kind of aspect, there is no use shooting the missile, because it will probably auto flare for him, and I will just end up wasting a missile. We go into the middle of the game, we go head on with an ATDW, dodge the guns, he's in a massive advantage, we are a bigger target, we have slower guns, and he has a lot more volume of fire, because of course that is a Vulcan. We try to chase him down, we get the Kafir on our 6, but he gets pressured by someone else, he gets into a turn a little bit, and he gets clapped right out of the air. Now we, at this point, have done nothing just yet, and we're going to try to turn after the MiG-23 here in order to actually help out our teammates. I notice that the MiG-21 is turning around, the MiG-23 is flying towards him, so I'm prepping up the missile here, and I can spare one because I still have 5 left. There is a chance that the MiG-21 shoots a missile in the head-on, but a lot of people don't. Why? Because in the head-on it's very easy to flare, and I know for a fact that that guy was not looking at us because he was busy and occupied going head-on with the MiG-21. So we just shoot a missile at him. If the MiG-21 doesn't shoot a missile, very unlikely that he will actually flare it. Now we fly towards the middle of the map, and I see the A4B here, and I just think to myself, well, allow myself to lick that one up. We managed to get a crit, he loses tail control, and he is gonna be airworthy for another, I don't know, he never crashes, even when we end the game. Now we know it's an A10, and the A10 is of course kinda dangerous, especially if it's the A10C. The AIM-9Ms are no joke when you are in a plane like the Su-22. However, it's an A10A, and luckily we can see this from a reasonable distance from the fact that he is spotted. So we pitch on over him, we wait for him to basically pitch up for us, and I know he's going to be shooting a missile at us in due time, so I'm just going to be pre-flaring. I'm pretty certain he still has missiles left, for the sole reason that he's coming from their runway and he hasn't really engaged anyone yet. He stalls out, and we are going to be pitching down onto him. Now I do want to be careful that he doesn't end up going head on with us, but he's busy dodging the MiG-23 that's coming in. Missile coming in there, he gets hit, doesn't really damage him all too badly. We also hit him with a 30 mil, also doesn't really damage him too badly. Make sure that he doesn't pitch up after us, because well, a point blank AIM-9L with this plane right here is highly dangerous, because it's one of the hottest engines in the game. It's also absolutely massive, and AIM-9Ls are not that flare hungry. We notice the F-8E, and I'm gonna think about pitching after him and just shooting a missile at him. There is a chance he doesn't see me. He probably does, but I just want to risk it at this point. And yep, he does see it, and I end up wasting my missile. I still have 3 left. Goes a little bit short. He has an afterburner on. Might have been able to catch him. Didn't end up happening. It's okay. And we're just going to keep on going straight here to kill the A-10. I don't want him to start ground pounding or anything like that. So we hit him with a few rounds. We severe him. And the F-8F slams the MiG-21 out of the air. Now, I'm going to pitch after the F-8 here, because I know from that angle right there, if he pitches after us and he dives on me, I'm dead. I'm not going to be outrunning him. I might just be able to, but I don't know how many missiles he has left, so I don't want to risk it. So instead, I pitch into him. Now, this guy does have... well, he doesn't want to have anything to do with me, and he simply runs away. Why he does this, not entirely sure. This thing is an absolute shitboat, and he could have like 2 or 3 turned me. Probably one of the freest kills you will get in the entire lobby, but instead he opts to fly away towards this runway. Now at this point I thought, is he actually gonna be base camping? But it turns out, nope, he's just actually regrouping with his teammates. There is gonna be 2 guys that are gonna be flying underneath us, and I do want to be aware of them. Now, are these missiles there to shoot him? No, I know for a fact that he's looking at me. He doesn't have his afterburner on, so all I just want to make sure is that he maneuvers a little bit so I can actually catch him and potentially gun him down. Now, when he starts going down, I find that a little bit sus. It's like he's trying to pull me into someone. We instantly look down and we notice the missile. That was the F-111 from earlier. And while we engage the F-111, or not really engage, while we try to dodge his missile, we go back to the F-8 and he instantly goes aggressive. So now I have a little bit of a picture on what kind of player that guy actually is. It's a more methodical player, more of a textbook player, and we can use that to our advantage. Now at this point I don't have much fuel left, and we are going to be going RTB. He does the same thing. We have the F-111 from the start of the game, and this is kind of a repeat of what we saw earlier, where I'm going to sit on the 6 and we're going to hope that he turns after bombing. The first time he did so, he clearly saw me and he still decided to make a little bit of a turn. And if you make a little bit of a turn in the F-111, you lose a little bit of all of your speed. So we are just going to be running him down without the afterburner. I still need to have some thrust left in order to get back to base, and I'm not entirely sure what the tornado in the enemy team is doing. And if you are watching this, you made it this far in, you haven't fallen asleep yet, and you are thinking about buying this thing or the tornado, let me just tell you, don't buy either. Now we're trying to glide in after the F-111. I'm gonna pop an order so that we don't get blind hunted, because I need to land after this and I don't want them to know that I'm there. And we're gliding him after him. I thought for a second he was gonna keep running away. He is not. Instead, he goes for the turn. He needs to dodge the missile now. He panics a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. We hit him once. I need to go back. I can't really pressure him. Luckily, the F-111 flies a bit like a wet danger noodle if it gets crit, and he turns into a frisbee, which is absolutely fantastic. And while that plane on its own isn't highly dangerous, it was a pretty important kill. They started ground pounding, our tickets are down a decent amount, and if they have another plane up that starts running away after it drops its bombs, we're probably going to lose on tickets. If not, he's going to third or maybe even fourth party me, and we want to avoid that. Now, I rally my teammate here because the tornado, he has been climbing in orbit the entire match, and he really hasn't been doing anything. So I do a little bit of a call to arm, just like when I tell you to subscribe if you have made it this far into the video, in hope that he actually does it. And he responds. It's It's insane. This was something I didn't expect to happen. And then we noticed the tornado. Now the tornado is going to be shooting a missile at us. I know that he sees me. There's no real use to shoot a missile at this point. So we're going to go for the deflection. We shoot a few rounds and we crit him. You saw me there hesitate for a split second. Why was that? Because I wasn't expecting to actually hit it. Now he is crit and I know that I can catch him, and I also know that the F-8 is behind me. I also know that my teammate is actually playing the game and he knows roughly where the F-8 is. So I don't really need to worry about the F-8 anymore. I just want to make sure that we turn this into a 2v1. On our own, both of our planes are beyond useless against an F-8. It's one of the best dogfighters at the BR, and we are both some of the worst. We're actually both the worst, I just don't know which one is worse. So I'm going to be running down the tornado. I notice that I'm going to catch him. I'm waiting for him to drop his bombs, because at this point the F-8 probably isn't going to be able to run away. And he starts air braking. He does a respectable thing. I let him bomb. He gives me the kill. Thank you very much. F-8 is behind us. We drop the fuel tanks and we're going to engage the F-8. And I know that he's a bit of a methodical player. I know that he is going to be playing it by the book. And I'm pretty sure that he doesn't know that the tornado is directly behind him. Now, if he does know that, he runs away. That is okay. If he doesn't know that, he's going to take this fight because he knows he's going to win it now. And we're going to lose. But I'm not going for the shot other than right here. I'm going to go for the shot because he is compressing a little bit. And I'm trying to maintain my energy because I'm not trying to get behind and kill him. I am trying to get this guy slow for my teammate. Teammate tells me to flare, which was absolutely huge. I flared. I don't want to flare normally because then it distracts the missile that is going for your enemy. Tells me to flare. I do so. We set him up perfectly for the F-8, and that is going to be the game. Was it very interesting? Definitely not. Did I just want to warn you about this purchase? Yeah, that's the only reason why I'm here today. This thing actually, funnily enough, was the easiest plane to fly out of the patch so far, because I just got very lucky with the matchmaker. So the fact that I'm 25-1 right now is not because this plane is actually good. Thank you all for watching, and you'll see me in the next one.